How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to a brand new Star Wars Battlefront 2 video. And in this video, we're going to be discussing everything that I hate about Star Wars Battlefront 2. I know that some other YouTubers have done their own take on this lately, so I felt like I'd weigh in my thoughts, as after all, this was a video I have already done in the past. So I thought that it was well worth updating here in 2020, as I've pretty much done one around this time over the past couple years. And obviously the game has changed a lot. Some things I talked about in the previous version of this video have been fixed or changed, and some of them have not. Now, I just want to get this clear before we get into the video. This isn't like an all-out hate video or anything like that. Most of you guys know how I feel about this game, and it's really positive overall. But I do have a few gripes with Battlefront 2, so we'll get into all of them throughout this video. And some of the things that I'll be discussing in this video, I did cover a few days ago, but there is going to be a lot in this video that I haven't talked about on the channel in quite some time. Now, if you guys want to see a video of me talking about the things I love about Battlefront 2, then be sure to smash a like on this video and let me know down in the comments below. And as always, if you are new around here, then absolutely feel free to subscribe to the channel for more Battlefront 2 content. We are getting really close to 60,000 subscribers, so let's smash it. But now let's jump into it, and the first thing in this video that I absolutely hate is the hero balancing. There are some heroes in Battlefront 2 that are just broken, and the obvious two are of course Anakin and Palpatine. Anakin has been borderline broken the entire time he's been in the game, and I've said this 1,000 times before. The problem with Anakin, it's never really been his damage output except for when he first came into the game and could nearly one-shot heroes with his heroic might. But the problem with Anakin is his ability combination. You can't escape it, and that's what makes Anakin unstoppable. Yeah, he might be fun to use, yeah, he should be powerful because he is the chosen one, but when someone brand new to the game can use him and get 50+ kill streaks straight away, you know that there is an issue there. Now, I love Anakin's abilities and I think they're a lot of fun, but I think for the game's sake, it might be worth getting rid of one of his abilities. But if they don't want to do that, they could add a fourth ability to all of the other heroes to make it even. Because Anakin is always going to be OP because of his 4 abilities and how they link together. Now, as for Palpatine, now I've personally never been good with him despite how broken he is. Even when he had to be taken out of the game when he was shooting lightning through walls and all of that, I was still trash with Palpatine. But I'm always on the receiving end of him being OP. And I mean, the community is complaining endlessly about him once again, so it's not just me. So these two are the obvious problems with the hero balancing, but I just think it's annoying that some heroes in Battlefront 2 are just plain bad and some are just plain OP. Yet they are worth the same amount of battle points. They all should be equally as good for the game's sake. And I think that BB-8 coming into the game is just going to widen the gap between the heroes even more, so we're going to have to wait and see how all of that pans out. So now, the next thing that I hate about Battlefront 2 is some of the toxic players of the game. Like I said, this video isn't just solely about Battlefront 2 as a game itself, but there are people that play this game that you can just smell the sweat through your monitor. Or there's just those people that don't play objectives, camp heroes in the menus, or just strafe run heroes all game from the air. Or in Heroes vs Villains, they just, refuse to stick with the team, which pretty much screws the entire match for your teammates. Like, I've actually had people that I've played with that have purposely sabotaged games. Like, there was a game of Heroes vs Villains I played recently where a guy on my team would just continuously jump off of platforms and kill himself over and over again, so we'd lose. And I'm sure we've all had those games of Heroes vs Villains where we constantly get stuck in 3v1 or 4v1 situations because your teammates are off doing everything except actually trying to basically kill the enemy team. Now, I did ask you guys about some of the things that you hate the most about Battlefront 2, and toxic players was something that did come up quite a lot. More than I was actually expecting, to be honest. Now, I know when some people think toxic, they think people being toxic in the game chat on PC. And believe me, as a YouTuber who has switched to PC, I see a fair bit of toxicity and abuse in the chat. I see it in almost every single game that I play. I just get flat out abused from toxic players, but I think it's more funny than anything. But that's not really what I mean when I say toxic players. I just mean, like I said, people who don't play objectives, sabotage game modes, and camp the menus to get heroes. It just kills the gameplay and a lot of the fun, in my opinion. And I definitely think the toxicity of some players in Battlefront 2's community is best highlighted in game modes like Heroes vs Villains. It's just one thing that I really hate about Battlefront 2. Obviously, like I said, it's not the game's fault. It's a player thing, and I'm sure 99% of the people watching this video will understand where I'm coming from here. Now, the next thing that I hate in Battlefront 2 is the infantry gameplay. Only really in the past year or so have I started to hate it, and that's largely due to the fact that nothing has really changed. Some star card alterations have been made, which is fine, but infantry in Battlefront 2 needs new blasters. I think we can all agree that we're sick of using the same 4 blasters for the infantry classes over and over and over and over again. I mean, it's honestly made me hate playing as infantry. Now, this is in complete contrast to Battlefront 2015. Playing as infantry in that game was so much fun. You could, use the jump pack pulse cannon loadout or the jump caster loadout or just anything really. But playing with infantry in Battlefront 2 feels like a stale step backwards. Now, I know class gameplay is something that a lot of people wanted, but they aren't changing anything to keep it fresh, and the diversity in the options, it's not there to keep it interesting over time. That's honestly why I just rack up the battle points as fast as possible so I can get a reinforcement or a hero. Because playing as infantry, I think it's just boring now. It did used to be fun, but nothing has changed. And I know that hate's a strong word, but I've got to tell you, I really hate infantry gameplay now. It's just boring and it feels like a chore until you get the reinforcement or hero that you're after. So moving on, the next thing that I hate is that there is still no private matches in Battlefront 2. I don't know how this is still a thing. It's been something that people have been crying out for since basically the launch of the game. But I don't want to spend too long talking about it. So it's frustrating, but hopefully this is something on DICE's agenda sooner rather than later. But now I am going to address the most obvious bit of hate here that we all have, and that is the bugs and glitches. Now, I spoke about this in a recent video, so I won't beat a dead horse with this. We all know bugs and glitches are one of Battlefront 2's biggest problems. Whether it's small ones or big ones, they constantly intrude on the gameplay and kill the enjoyment a lot of the time. And the fact that we as players are almost used to the bugs is kind of sad really. Now, like I've said before, I know that DICE are working with the Frostbite engine, which is from all accounts a nightmare to work with. But I think there needs to be a month dedicated to bug fixes, or more playtesting needs to be done before patches go out. I mean, DICE, if you need someone to playtest your game, I'm willing, I'll do it. But yeah, the bugs and the glitches, they've just plagued Battlefront 2 since it came out, and they are still a constant issue. But I just hope, and I really hope that DICE don't keep sidestepping the concept of having a month dedicated to bug and glitch fixes. So now moving on, the next thing in this video that I just hate is DICE abandoning game modes. Now this also falls into the category of there probably being too many game modes in the game. Well, too many of the smaller modes anyway. Granted, a heap of new players have come to the game to make this a little bit better, but it's just annoying that good game modes are getting no attention from DICE. So they're just being left behind, and Galactic Assault is the main one that's got everyone pretty unhappy with DICE. In my opinion, Galactic Assault offers the best of what Battlefront 2 has to offer, and it's the prime game mode with all errors. Capital Supremacy is fun, don't get me wrong, but they altered previously existing Galactic Assault maps to fit into Capital Supremacy. So why can't they do it the other way around and add maps like Ajan Kloss to Galactic Assault? It just personally doesn't make much sense to me. But yeah, I wish that DICE would stop abandoning good game modes to just focus on one specific game mode. Because it really feels like the rest of the game is getting left behind whilst Capital Supremacy gets all of the attention. It's kind of frustrating, and I think it's a big complaint that a lot of people have right now, and I'm definitely one of them. But now moving on to something else that I absolutely hate, and that is the lack of maps in the game. Now, when I say lack of maps, I more mean large scale maps. I think the maps are honestly the most important thing in Battlefront 2, and getting Ajan Kloss was really refreshing, as was Geonosis when that came out. Now, I know DICE don't have the biggest development team, I get that, but I do hope that considering the game's resurgence, EA throw a little bit more money at the game and put more devs into the seats at DICE. Just so we can get a little bit more content, so the scarcity of new map content, it's just not so frustrating. But hopefully this does change throughout 2020. And finally, just a few small things that I will quickly skim over that I hate. The first one being general balancing. Like, vehicles are just a little bit too OP on heroes. Some vehicles can literally two-shot heroes, and yeah, I hate that kind of crap. Also, the Ovisian Gunner is really OP. She is fun to use, and yes, it's a she, believe it or not, but I think she really does need a bit of a nerf. Also, the lack of villain skins really annoys me, but again, I don't want to beat a dead horse with that. We know DICE are starting to look into that, which is good news. But yeah, I mean, those are about all the things that I hate about Battlefront 2 as of right now. I know that there is a lot there that I really don't like, but I have full faith that most of these things will get attention sooner rather than later. There was also probably a few things that I did forget to put in this video, so be sure to post what you don't like about Battlefront 2 in the comments below. And remember guys, this wasn't an all-out bashing on Battlefront 2, just a bit of discussion, so let's keep it civil down in the comments. But if you did go on to enjoy this video, then be sure to drop a like, as it does help out the channel a great deal. And be sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new, as we push on to 60,000 subscribers. We're really close. But that is going to do it for this video, so thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to you all again next time.